The drill sergeant's whistle pierced the dawn like a gunshot, and I hit the mud face first, tasting blood and regret before the sun even crested the horizon. Up, Cadet Oliver. You call that a push-up? My grandma's got more spine. His voice was gravel wrapped in barbed wire, but it was nothing compared to the storm raging inside me. The one that had me questioning why the hell I'd signed up for this torture in the first place. I wasn't here for glory or duty. I was here to bury a secret so deep it might never claw its way out, to sweat it away under the weight of rucksacks and rifles until I could look my father in the eye and swear I was the straight arrow son he'd always demanded. West Point dreams? Nah, that was for the real patriots. I was just Oliver Hayes, 20-year-old freshman at Penn State, majoring in history because it let me hide in books about wars fought by men who never had to whisper their truths. My old man, Colonel Hayes, retired Army, had pounded manhood into me since I could walk. Real men lead, son. Real men don't bend. So when the whispers started in high school, locker room glances that lingered too long, a crush on the quarterback that twisted my gut like a bayonet, I joined ROTC. Prove it, Oliver. Prove you're not broken. Prove you're his legacy. First formation was a blur of barked orders and bodies slamming into formation. 50 of us, green as the Nittany Lion's fur, shivering in gray PT shorts under the October chill of Happy Valley. That's when I saw him, Beckett Slade. He was across the field, all lean muscle and quiet intensity. His dark hair cropped military short but somehow still falling just so over his forehead. He moved like he was born in boots. Fluid, unyielding, like the wind carving through the Appalachians. Our eyes locked during the 2-mile run, and something electric zipped through me, hot and unwelcome. I tripped on a root, ate dirt again, and blamed the leaves. Not him. Never him. By week 2, we were paired for rifle drills. Beckett's hands were steady as he corrected my grip, his fingers brushing mine in a way that sent my pulse hammering like a misfired round. Easy, Hayes, he murmured, voice low and steady, like the rumble of a Humvee over gravel. You're fighting the weapon. Let it become part of you. Up close, he smelled like pine soap and fresh sweat, his hazel eyes sharp enough to cut through my defenses. He was a sophomore transfer from Texas A&M, engineering major with a drawl that wrapped around words like kudzu. Grew up on a ranch outside Austin, he said, where the sky was bigger than God and men fixed what was broken with duct tape and prayers. We fell into rhythm quick. Mornings bleeding into afternoons of PT, evenings in the armory cleaning M4S until our fingers cramped. Beckett was the guy who made it bearable, cracking dry jokes about the sergeant's mustache looking like a ferret in heat, sharing contraband beef jerky from his care package. My ma sends them, he'd say, tossing me a strip. Says it'll put hair on your chest. I'd laugh, too loud, because it drowned out the way his smile lit something feral in my chest. At night, in the dorms, I'd replay those moments on loop, telling myself it was bromance. Army brothers. Nothing more. But doubt crept in like fog off the Susquehanna. One Friday, after a brutal obstacle course where I scraped my knee bloody on the cargo net, Beckett patched me up in the locker room. The others had cleared out, leaving us under the harsh fluorescence, steam curling from the showers like ghosts. He knelt, antiseptic sting biting the air, his touch gentle as he dabbed the wound. You push too hard, Oliver, he said, not looking up. Like you're running from something. My breath caught. His face was inches away, jaw set, lips parted just enough to show the white line of his teeth. I wanted to bolt, but my body betrayed me. Leaning in, the room narrowing to the heat of his skin. What about you? I shot back, voice rougher than I meant. What's a Texas boy doing freezing his ass off in Pennsylvania mud? He paused, tape crinkling in his hands. Same as you, I reckon. Trying to be the man they all expect. There it was, a crack in the armor, a shared shadow. We didn't say more. Didn't need to. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling cracks like fault lines, wondering if he heard my heart pounding through the thin walls. Fall deepened, leaves turning the campus into a blaze of red and gold. ROTC weekends ramped up. Land NAV in the pouring rain, where Beckett and I huddled under a poncho, compasses glowing like fireflies, our shoulders pressed together against the cold. "Due north's that way?" he'd whisper, breath warm on my neck. I'd nod, swallowing the urge to turn, to see if his eyes held the same storm. Off-duty, we'd hit the Thon Hall parties, beer pong and bad country covers, but I'd nurse one solo cup, watching him laugh with the co-eds, his arm slung casual over some sorority girl's shoulder. Jealousy gnawed at me, sharp as barbed wire. Who was I to feel this? I was straight. I had to be. Thanksgiving break loomed, a reprieve I dreaded. Home meant Dad's interrogations over turkey. "How's the unit? Any weakness showing?" I'd salute with my fork, spin tales of triumphs, bury the rest. But this year, Beckett invited me south. "Ranch life's better than Philly traffic," he texted. "Ma's tamalis'll make you forget the cold." I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. Say yes and risk everything blurring. Say no and prove I was the coward he might already suspect. I went. The drive was 12 hours of silence broken by Springsteen on the radio, Beckett drumming the wheel to Born to Run, singing off-key about highways and dreams. His truck smelled like leather and him, windows down, wind whipping through as we crossed the Mason-Dixon. Texas hit like a revelation. Endless flatlands under a sky so vast it swallowed secrets whole. The Slade Ranch was weathered wood and creaking porches, horses nickering in the corral. His ma hugged me like a long-lost son, her silver-streaked hair and flour-dusted apron screaming welcome. No questions about why I was there instead of home. Just plates piled high with chili and cornbread. Stories of Beckett as a kid roping calves with a grin. Nights were the killer. We bunked in the guest room, twin beds shoved against opposite walls, but sleep evaded us both. Moonlight slanted through the blinds, casting shadows that danced like accusations. "You ever feel like you're wearing someone else's skin?" Beckett asked one midnight, voice thick with insomnia. I froze, sheets tangled around my legs. "All the time," I admitted, the words slipping out like a confession. He rolled toward me, propping on an elbow, face half lit, half hidden. "Then take it off, Oliver. Ain't no shame in being you." My throat closed. I wanted to cross the gap, bridge the 2 feet of worn oak floor with a touch, a question. But fear rooted me. What if he pulled away? What if he didn't? Dawn broke with us unchanged, awkward over coffee. The moment sealed away like a classified file. Back at Penn State, the thaw brought new hell. Spring training, urban ops in state college alleys, where we role-played takedowns and extractions. Beckett and I were fire team leads, synced like we'd shared a womb. But rumors stirred. Cadet Ramirez caught us lingering too long in the tack room. Maps spread between us, shoulders brushing as we plotted routes. "You two are thick as thieves," he joked, but his eyes lingered, sharp. I laughed it off, but it festered. Then came the betrayal I never saw coming. My roommate Jake, high school buddy, ROTC pledge like me, found my journal. I'd scribbled fragments there, late-night vents about eyes that haunted, touches that burned. He confronted me in the quad. Rain slicking the bricks, voice low and venomous. "Dude, what the fuck? You're one of them? After all this?" His face twisted, not with disgust exactly, but fear. Like my truth tainted his own fragile straightness. "I'm telling the colonel. Or the S1. Someone's gotta know." Panic clawed up my spine. "Jake, please. It's not. Save it." He stormed off, leaving me soaked and shattered under the downpour. That night, I avoided Beckett, holing up in the library stacks, history tomes my shield. But he found me, sliding into the corral like a shadow. "Talk to me," he demanded, hand on my arm, grip firm. I shook him off, words tumbling. Jake's discovery, the threat of exposure, Dad's legacy crumbling like ash. Beckett listened, jaw clenched, then pulled me into a hug, fierce, unyielding, his heartbeat a war drum against mine. "You're not alone," he whispered. "Not anymore." In that embrace, walls cracked. I pulled back, searching his face, and there it was, the mirror of my chaos, raw and real. "Beckett, I think I'm gay," he finished, soft as a prayer. Me too, Oliver. Been fighting it since basic. The world tilted. Relief flooded, then terror. We were outlaws in our own unit. Threads of a tapestry we couldn't afford to unravel. But in that fluorescent hush, we kissed, tentative, then desperate, lips meeting like soldiers storming a breach. It was salvation and sin, tasting of coffee and courage. Words spread like wildfire through dry grass, but not from us. Jake, in his misguided loyalty to some code I never understood, went to the chain of command. Not outright. Oh no, he was sly about it. Dropped concerns, in a counseling session with the assistant PMS. Vague hints about unit cohesion and personal conduct unbecoming. By midterms, the whispers had teeth. Sidelong glances in formation. Ramirez pulling me aside after PT with a pitying, "You good, Hayes?" Beckett bore it worse. Transfers from the South carried old prejudices like hidden shrapnel. A senior cadet cornered him in the showers, towel snap echoing off tiles. "Heard you're batting for the other team, Slade. Keep it off my field." We adapted, survivalists in our own foxhole. Mornings, we'd run extra miles, pounding pavement until exhaustion numbed the fear. Afternoons, buried in classes, me in dusty lecture halls debating the ethics of Gettysburg. Him in labs sketching bridge spans that could withstand hurricanes. Evenings, we'd steal moments in the arboretum, hidden among maples shedding their crimson cloaks, hands intertwined under fallen leaves. "This is us," Beckett would say, thumb tracing my knuckles. "No ranks, no rakes, just Oliver and Beck." But love in the shadows sharpens everything. The joy electric, the dread a constant hum. He taught me to two-step in his dorm, to George straight on low volume, my boots clumsy on the scuffed linoleum, his laughter a bomb. I'd read him Whitman under desk lamps, leaves of grass passages about comradeship that felt prophetic. His head on my shoulder, breathing steady as a metronome. Sex, we danced around it, boundaries firm, not from shame but reverence. This was deeper than bodies. It was souls colliding, forging something unbreakable amid the breaking. Spring break hit like a reprieve, but mine was poisoned. Dad summoned me home to the old colonial in Arlington, Virginia, where magnolias bloomed defiant against the Potomac's gray. Mom fluttered with her usual grace, pot roast and probing questions, but Dad's eyes were lasers, dissecting me over the dining table. "Heard rumblings from your CO, son. Something about distractions in the unit." My fork froze midair, heart slamming like a howitzer. Jake's poison had traveled, filtered through official channels. "It's nothing, sir," I lied, voice parade ground steady. "Just hazing bullshit." He leaned in, metals glinting on his dress shirt. "This family doesn't do bullshit, Oliver. We serve. Clean. Straight." The word hung, double-edged. I nodded, throat tight, excusing myself to the porch where crickets chorused my isolation. That night, I called Beckett from the landline, voice muffled against the receiver. He knows something, or suspects. Silence stretched, then his drawl, steel-wrapped soft. "Come back soon, cowboy. We'll face it together." Reunited, we threw ourselves into the color guard competition, state qualifiers in Harrisburg, where precision could earn us a slot at the governor's ball. Rehearsals were our church. Rifles spinning in flawless arcs, flags snapping like thunderclaps. Beckett and I synced on the ends, our movements a dialogue. "Trust me, catch this, I've got you." Off the mat, tension coiled. Anonymous notes appeared in our lockers. "Fags don't lead." One night, post-rehearsal, we found our gear slashed. Beckett's denim patch shredded. My ROTC pin bent like a sneer. The betrayal cut deepest from within. During a team brief, Ramirez, our supposed brother, slid me a sidelong smirk, then later, in the parking lot, spat. "Slade's dragging you down, Hayes. Cut him loose before it tanks your commission." Rage boiled, but I swallowed it, fists clenched till knuckles whitened. Beckett, overhearing, went pale, retreating to the ranch in his mind. That evening, in his truck parked on Mount Nittany's overlook, stars pricking the velvet sky, he broke. "Maybe he's right. I won't be the reason you lose everything. Don't, I begged, cupping his face, thumbs brushing stubble rough as truth. You're the only real thing I've got. We clung there, the valley lights twinkling like distant campfires, vows unspoken but etched in the dark. Climax brewed with the qualls. Harrisburg's armory buzzed. Rival units from pit and temple, judges in crisp blues, families in the stands. We marched out, hearts pounding syncopated to the drumline's pulse. Flags aloft, rifles twirling. Up, catch, salute. Mid-sequence, disaster. A pit cadet accidentally clips Beckett's boot during crossover, sending him sprawling. Rifle clatters, flag dips. The crowd gasps. I freeze, instinct screaming to help, protocol chaining me in place. He rises, blood trickling from a split lip, eyes locking mine across the floor. Go on. Finish it. We do, flawless from there, but the deduction costs us first. Silver, not gold. Backstage, chaos erupts. The pit captain, smirking, mutters fairy slip. Loud enough for ears. Beckett lunges. I haul him back, muscles straining, as fists fly in a blur. Security swarms, badges flashing. Suspended both teams, indefinite review. In the green room, door barricaded with a folding chair, we collapse against the cinderblock wall, adrenaline crashing like waves on Normandy. I'm done hiding, Beckett rasps, ice pack blooming red on his mouth. If they want me out, fine, but not without a fight. His hand finds mine, squeezing till it hurts. Tears sting mine, his mingled. I love you, I whisper, the words a grenade pin pulled. He smiles, crooked through the swelling. Reckon I love you too, darlin'. Been waitin' to hear that. The hearing came swift, a tribunal in the commandant's oak-paneled office, air thick with aftershave and judgment. Assistant PMS, graying and granite-faced, presided. Jake testified, eyes averted, spinning his concerns into a narrative of moral hazard. Ramirez backed him, voice steady. It's affecting morale, sir. Beckett and I sat ramrod, uniforms starched, but inside, we were fraying ropes. Our turn, measured defenses, appeals to regs on privacy, but the undercurrent was clear. Don't ask, don't tell lingered like a ghost, even post-repeal. Dad appeared unannounced, materializing in the antechamber like a specter, his presence announced by the jangle of keys. Son, he said, pulling me aside, voice a low thunder. This, indiscretion. It ends now. Indignation flared. It's not an indiscretion, Dad. It's me. His face crumpled. Not anger, but something worse. Disappointment laced with fear, the colonel's armor cracking to reveal the father beneath. You're throwing away your future. For what? Some phase. It's not a phase. I shot back, voice breaking. Beckett's my future. If you can't see that, maybe I don't need your approval. He recoiled, metals clinking softly. Think on it, Oliver. Blood's thicker. But as he left, shoulders slumped, I saw the fracture. His worldview tilting, a man grappling with a son he didn't know. The verdict dropped like a guillotine. Probation, community service, mandatory counseling, coded as leadership development. But we knew the subtext. No discharge, but a scarlet letter sewn into our files. Walking out into the quad, spring sun mocking our shadows, Beckett slung an arm around me, defiant. We survived, Hayes. That's victory. Yet doubt lingered, a serpent in Eden. That night, alone in my room, Jake's side stripped bare. He'd transferred units, ghosted me. I unearthed Dad's latest email. A forwarded article on military readiness and personal vices, clipped with, for your consideration, betrayal anew, from the man who'd birthed me. I deleted it, but the wound wept. Summer loomed, internships and separations. Beckett scored a co-op in Pittsburgh, bridging the steel town's rivers. I stayed local, archiving at the Military History Museum, dusting artifacts of battles long buried. Weekends, we'd meet halfway. Crappy motels off I-80, where we'd talk till dawn, bodies chased but souls entangled. What's next? I'd ask, tracing constellations on his palm. After graduation, commissions. Us. He'd grin, that Texas flash. We build our own battalion. You and me against the world. But the world fought back. August heat wave, and news from home. Dad's heart scare, a mild infarction during a VFW speech. Mom's call was frantic. He asked for you, Oliver. Said he was wrong. I drove through the night, rain sheeting the windshield like tears, arriving at dawn to his bedside. Tubes snaking, monitors beeping a fragile rhythm. He woke groggy, hand frail in mine. Proud of you, son, he murmured, eyes wet. Even if I don't understand. Yet. It wasn't absolution, but a truce, humanity piercing the Colonel's code. Returning, lighter, I found Beckett at the airport. Surprise visit, duffel slung, grin wide. We drove to the ranch in his mind, or as close as Pennsylvania allowed. A cabin rental in the Poconos, lakefront and secluded. There, under pine whispers and loon calls, we shed the uniforms. Not literally, but the weights. Hikes where we'd race to overlooks, collapsing in laughter. Campfires where stories flowed like bourbon. His of starry Texas nights herding cattle, mine of Virginia summers dodging Dad's drills. One evening, as fireflies blinked like Morse code, he turned to me, serious. Marry me, Oliver? Not legal yet, not here. But in our hearts. Tears blurred the flames. Yes, I breathed. 1,000 times. Fall semester roared back, a gauntlet of upper-level courses and intensified drills. Prepping for summer camp at Fort Bragg, where futures were forged or shattered. Beckett and I, probation ghosts, doubled down. Extra PT at ODark 30, volunteering for every detail from color guard to blood drives. It was armor, this overachievement, prove our worth beyond the whispers. But cracks spiderwebbed. In tactics class, a professor's offhand historical precedence for unit discipline landed like a mine, eyes flicking our way. We endured, shoulders brushing in the back row, silent solidarity. Off campus, we carved sanctuary. The Rotc became our haunt, dim-lit booths, foamy drafts, where we dissect Plato's Symposium like it was a field manual, debating love's forms till closing time. Beckett's laugh cut through the din, head thrown back, Adam's apple bobbing. A sight that still stole my breath. You're my symposium, Hayes. He'd tease, clinking glasses. All reason and fire. I'd flush, retort with a Whitman quote, but inside, gratitude swelled. For this man who'd seen my fractures and called them beautiful. Yet conflict brewed domestic. Mom called weekly, bridge between worlds. Dad's rehab, slow steps in the park, questions about that Slade boy. Progress, glacial. He's trying, Oliver. Give him time. I did, but impatience chafed. One weekend home, I brought Beckett, tentative olive branch. Arlington streets, crisp with fallen leaves, led to the Lincoln Memorial, where we stood amid tourists, reflecting pool mirroring our unease. Dad met us there, civilian casual in khakis, handshake firm but eyes wary. Lunch at a riverside bistro, stilted talk of football, weather, ROTC rigors. Then the probe. Engineering, Solid choice. Builds things that last. Beckett nodded, drawl polite. Yes, sir. Like bridges. Or families. The subtext landed. Dad shifted, fork scraping china. Later, alone with me, he gripped my shoulder. He's intense. You sure? Surer than anything, I replied. It wasn't endorsement but tolerance, a step. Back north, betrayal struck from the flanks. Ramirez, ascending to platoon leader, leveraged our indiscretion in a power play. Assigned us latrine duty for a month, scrubbing toilets at dawn while he lounged with coffee. Character building, he smirked. Humiliation burned, but we turned it ritual. Beckett humming wagon wheel. Me splashing him with mop water, laughter echoing off porcelain. One morning, knee-deep in bleach fumes, he dropped the rag, pulled me close. This is bullshit, but you're my why. Kiss stolen, fierce and fleeting, risk be damned. Winter clamped down, snow blanketing the stadium in white silence. Holiday formal loomed, ROTC's glitzy nod to tradition. Dress blues, sabers, slow dances under chandeliers. We went stag, ostensibly, me with a pity date from poli-sci, him solo. But midway, amid waltzes and watered-down punch, I ditched her for the balcony, where Beckett waited, cigarette glowing like a beacon. "Dance with me?" I said, extending a hand. He stubbed it out, grinned sly. Under the stars, away from prying eyes, we swayed, chest to chest, his breath syncing with mine, world fading to our rhythm. Magic shattered at midnight. Jake reappeared, drunk, maudlin, cornering us by the coat check. "Oliver, man." I was wrong. Scared. You know? But watching you too. It's real. Apology slurred, but earnest. Forgiveness tasted bittersweet. He hugged us both, swaying, then vanished into the crowd. Catharsis partial but enough to loosen the knot. Spring unfurled with promise. Camp selection notices. Beckett and I, top percentiles despite the stains, earned slots at Bragg elite training, jump wings potential. Elation surged. We celebrated with a road trip to Philly, cheesesteaks dripping on dashboards, Eagles game under floodlights. In the stands, amid roaring fans, his hand found mine under the foam finger, brief, bold. No one noticed, but it felt revolutionary. Fort Bragg hit like a freight train. Carolina heat, sand in every crevice, instructors who ate cadets for breakfast. We arrived green, but synced, fire team inseparable, earning nods for flawless maneuvers. Nights in the barracks, sweat-slick bunks feet apart. We'd whisper plans. Post-commission, joint posting requests, a life beyond camo. "Quantico," he'd murmur. "You teaching history, me engineering forts." Evenings on the porch, rocking chairs creaking. But paradise fractures. During a night op, insertion via Black Hawk, low-level hover over pine thickets, comms glitch. My squad veers off azimuth. Beckett's parallel closes the gap. Contact. Simulated enemy, but blanks fly hot. In the melee, a root snags my boot. I tumble into a ravine, ankle twisting with a pop like gunfire. Pain explodes, white hot. Voices shout. His loudest, "Oliver, man down." He rappels down, disregard for protocol, hauling me up with raw strength, medevac chopper thumping overhead. Evac to the aid station. Sprain, not break, but sidelined. In the tent, morphine-dazed, he hovers, bandages, water, that steady gaze. "Can't lose you," he says, voice cracking. I grip his hand. "Never." Word leaks. His reckless rescue, bypassing chain. Review board whispers, heroism or hothead. Discharge from medical, we return to the grind. But the incident bonds us tighter, a legend in hushed tones. Graduation nears, commissions imminent. Dad attends the ceremony. Full regalia, chest puffed, but his clap for my oath is thunderous. Post-surds, he pulls Beckett aside. Words inaudible but tone gruff affectionate. Later, to me, "He's family now. Treat him right." Tears prick, walls tumble. Yet climax crests not in triumph, but torrent. Summer posting. We're split, me to Fort Benning Infantry School. Him to Aberdeen Ordnance. Geography's cruel math. Farewell at the ranch. His ma's blessing over brisket, stars wheeling above the corral. In the hayloft, twilight gilding the beams, we make promises. Letters, leaves, a wedding in Vermont where it's legal. Till the wheels fall off, he toasts with stolen whiskey. Separation shreds. Benning's drill fields, Georgia swelter, echo empty without his drawl. Letters arrive, typewritten, perfumed faintly with pine. Chronicling Aberdeen's labs, mishaps with misfiring prototypes. "Miss your laugh," he writes, "sends me through the days. Mine back. Histories of soldiers who loved in silence, hopes for reunion." Then the gut punch. October dispatch. Beckett's unit deploys. Advisory role in the sandbox, 6 months minimum. AD threats, dust storms, the suck. My world grays. Phone call from a motel payphone, his voice staticky. It's voluntary, but duty calls. Lie, it's ambition proving himself to ghosts of his own. "Come back whole," I beg. That's the order. Months blur. My days in classrooms, drilling lieutenants on maneuvers. Nights pacing, news feeds a minefield of casualty reports. Letters taper, censored, sparse. A care package, his A&M patch, resewn. No note. Fear festers. Climax detonates Christmas Eve. Call from his ma, voice hollow. Convoy hit, RPG scatter. Beckett wounded, shrapnel to the leg, medevac to Landstuhl. Stable but stateside recovery at Walter Reed. I drive through blizzard, tires slipping on I-95, arriving to fluorescent hell. Wards of bandaged heroes, beeps a dirge. He lies pale, leg elevated, eyes lighting at my face. Told you I'd come back. He croaks, grin faint. I collapse beside him, holding him as sobs rack, relief, rage, love's fierce blade. Never again, I vow. No more proving. Recovery was a marathon, not sprint. Physical therapy sessions where Beckett gritted through pulleys and pain, cursing in that melodic drawl till nurses blushed. Walter Reed's halls, echoing with resilience, became our interim home. Me on leave, bunking visitor quarters, smuggling in tamales from a DC taqueria. Tastes like victory, he'd declare, feeding me a bite, fingers lingering. We talked futures, not if, but how. Joint postings lobbied through connections. A quiet ceremony in the Massachusetts woods where autumn painted the leaves our witnesses. Dad visited twice. First awkward, bearing fruit baskets and army surplus socks. Second, softer, sharing war stories of buddies lost, loves unspoken. Love's the real battle, he admitted over vending machine coffee, hand on my shoulder. Fight smart, son. Beckett, from his bed, nodded respect. Seeds of brotherhood sown. Spring thawed deceased cherry blossoms, and so did we. Discharge papers signed medical, honorable. Beckett pivoted to civilian engineering, a firm in Philly specializing in resilient infrastructure. Bridges for flood-prone bayous, a nod to his roots. I commissioned but requested instructor billet at the academy, teaching cadets the human side of command, ethics over bayonets. Proximity, Philly to West Point, weekends ours. Our wedding was small, human scale. July 4th under Vermont oaks heavy with green, fireworks distant booms like celebratory artillery. Ma Slade officiated in spirit, her ring on my finger. My parents there, Mom dabbing tears, Dad saluting our vows with a crisp hooah. Beckett in linen suit, hazel eyes shining. I, Beckett, take thee, Oliver, through mud and stars. Rings exchanged, simple gold bands engraved with comrades. The kiss, crowd whoops, but for us time suspended, promise sealed. Life settled into rhythm, American as apple pie with a twist. Philly row house, creaky stairs and bay windows overlooking the Schuylkill, where we jog at dawn, his limp fading to a saunter. Evenings, him sketching at the drafting table, me grading papers by lamplight, wine uncorked for debates on policy or poetry. Weekends, road trips, Texas ranches revisited, Virginia barbecues where Dad grilled steaks and questions with equal zeal. Conflict lingered, subtle as scars. ROTC alumni events. Old comrades clapping backs, but eyes sliding away. Ramirez's successor nodding polite distance. Jake resurfaced once, email apologetic. Heard about the wedding. Put, man. If you need anything. Forgiveness full now, a chapter closed. Beckett's dreams woke him sometimes. Convoy flashes, sand in his throat. Me holding him through the shakes, whispering you're home. Humanity bloomed in the quiet victories. Mentoring a cadet, wide-eyed and whispering his own doubts. My letter back. Lead with your truth. The uniform fits better that way. Beckett's firm landed a contract rebuilding post-flood levees in Louisiana. Lives shored up, his designs enduring. We'd volunteer at the local center, Philly's gay youth group, sharing stories not as heroes, but survivors. Love isn't the war. It's the peace we earn. One anniversary, we drove to that Poconos cabin. Full circle, lake mirroring July sun. On the porch, rocking chairs we'd shipped from Austin, he turned to me, hand over mine. Regrets, Hayes? I shook my head, tracing his wedding band. None. You. His smile, that old Texas flash. Just that I didn't meet you sooner. We sat then, watching fireflies morse their secrets. The world vast but ours contained. Two men, forged in denial, tempered in fire, now unbreakable. Years layered like sediment. Promotions for me, partnerships for him. A dog named Patton, loyal mutt with a limp sympathy. Holidays blending families, tamales beside turkey. Dad softened fully, visiting with tales of his own unspoken youth. A sailor crush in Nam waves. Hid it well, he confessed one Thanksgiving. Wish I'd fought for it. Redemption, late but luminous. In the end, it's not the drama that defines us. The mud, the betrayals, the blasts, but the romance woven through. Hands clasped in crisis, laughs in the latrine, vows under Vermont stars. We joined to prove we were straight, but love proved us whole. And in this American tapestry, flawed, fierce, forgiving, we found our place, not as exceptions, but as the rule, human utterly.